Well, hey guys, this episode of the Military Wire, we're going to talk about the secret to starting a thriving business. We're going to do that with my dear friend Anthony Cosby, who is a U.S. Navy veteran. He's the CEO of STZY, which I'm going to tell you more about. And I'm just going to tell you that we're going to explore this whole what is the secret weapon that us veterans have that enable us to start and build very thriving businesses. So that's what we're going to do on this episode of the Military Wire. So welcome. I am Mike Schindler with the Military Wire, and this is where we interview some of America's most elite men and women who have served this country in hopes that you, our listener, get an aha moment that you can apply to your own life. So I want to put a shout out to our sponsors of the episode, Bone Frog Cellars and Bone Frog Wine, my dear friend, Lieutenant Commander Tim Cruikshank, who served the Navy SEALs for 25 years. Portions of the proceeds from those purchases actually go to the Navy SEAL Foundation to help the families of fallen SEALs. So be sure you check those guys out. So, Anthony, welcome to the Military Wire, brother.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mike, so much for having me, man, and thanks for all that you do and getting us veterans out here and being able to showcase what we're doing outside of the uniform and in veteran life. So you keep killing it, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you and I go back a couple of years, so which is very exciting. And before we jump into what you're doing in the corporate setting, I always love people to hear your story. So, really frame it, number one, why'd you join the Navy? Well, we know why you joined the Navy. It's the best branch of the service, but, but give our viewers a little sense of who you are and why you joined the military.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I'm from Alabama originally, and I joined the Navy at 17 years old, graduated early, and really saw that I wanted something out of life. I really wanted to travel the world. I wanted to see different people, be around different people, and I just didn't think I was going to be able to do that from Alabama. Hardworking people in Alabama. My dad worked a construction job for 30 plus years. Um, so I'm not opposed to hard work. I've done it. I worked in the fields when I was growing up in Alabama, but I just knew I wanted something different. And when I went to the recruiting office, I actually had an appointment with an Army recruiter at 1 o'clock. And sure enough, my dad dropped me off and he left. And I'm from the country, the deep country. So when my dad left, he wasn't coming back until another hour, hour and a half. So when my dad left, the door was locked, and the Navy guy came out. He was eating a yogurt cone, and I've never had yogurt. The only ice cream that I had was either ice cream that we churned at grandma's house or some that we went and bought. And sure enough, the Navy guy said, "Hey, he's not coming back. You want some yogurt?" And they had a yogurt machine inside the recruiting. And I was like, yeah. So I'm up here eating my waffle cone. And, we're talking, and I won't ever forget this statement. He said, in the Navy, we have a bed every night when we sleep. and I'm a kid that grew up watching combat, and I knew I wanted to be an Army soldier. And sure enough, that term just made me say, "Go Navy." so, so I went to the Navy and just really had a great time. I was enlisted sailor in administration, a personnelman, and just had a really wonderful time. And being a personnelman, I was around admin all the time. I was around all the policies that we had coming from the Navy Personnel Command. So I knew everything that was going on. And the one thing that I really understood was how to become an officer, because I was right there in the mix of that. And I had a few people that really spoke confidence and said, "Hey, you can really do this." I didn't have a ton of confidence coming from Alabama, just, to be serious. I was a good athlete and okay student, but the Navy said, "Hey, you can go for whatever you want." And so I had a unique opportunity, got selected for the enlisted commissioning program, went through that at Auburn University, went on to be a surface warfare officer, serving on the USS Roosevelt DDG-80, which was the pre-com crew. Then went over to, and that was in Mayport, then went over to Yokosuka, Japan to go shoot missiles on the USS Curtis Wilbur DDG-54. After that, went over to the Naval Academy, had a wonderful time at the Naval Academy for 3 years. And then, lo and behold, I went into recruiting in San Antonio, Texas. And that
Mm.
was really the tail end of my career, but probably one of the most rewarding part of my careers because that really gave me an opportunity to really pay it forward and to really fill the Navy with the next best and brightest of women and men that our country had to offer. And then I retired out and worked in higher education for a little while. And I'm in higher education now with Syracuse University at the Institute for Veterans and Military Families and just continue to do good work.
I see. I love that. I love, your story is so funny. You were going to be an Army guy. I had no idea what I was going to be until I saw Tom Cruise on the big screen, and then I knew. Like I was like, I'm Tom Cruise. This is it all the way. Except I never flew cool jets or dated Kelly McGillis. I didn't
But
do any of those,
I
and
will tell
I don't
you,
have Tom Cruise's income either. But yeah.
for the Army Navy game, the uniform that the Navy is wearing are patterned after the Navy jet. So there you go. You have
Oh, well, see, well, now we just got to get our football team back. I don't know what happened. So I've been losing steak dinners the last couple of years. So tell me, your time in the Navy, I mean, this is so important because oftentimes we get folks who transition out and are like, why, I don't have the skills or I don't have the abilities to do X, Y, or Z. And I believe that sometimes we miss that. So is there one trait that you picked up in the service, Anthony, that you went, what I learned from my service has helped me in business? If there was one thing, what would that be?
perseverance.
Interesting. Okay.
In the military, one of the things I do whenever I go on the speaker circuit before COVID and talking to folks that are getting ready to transition or have already transitioned out, I love asking this question, and I will ask by the raise your hand for folks that was not able to complete a task that was given to them by their leadership or supervisor, and no one raised their hand because really and
Because
truly,
we knew there was a consequence if we didn't get it done, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but even it goes a little bit deeper because that perseverance, even if they said, "Hey, I need you to go do this," and the boss walks off, right? Next thing you know, and I'll use a sailor mentality. The sailor starts first, griping and moaning because they have to do something different and extra. They do that for a good 5 minutes just to get it all out, and then, all right, let's get it done. And it's remarkable how people use that trait of perseverance to go research whatever they have to do, go connect with whatever network within that structure
Mhm.
have to say, "Hey, chief, could you help me with this? Hey, can you help me with this, petty officer so and so? I have this task." And then once they get the research, once they tap their network, then they proceed to complete the job, the mission. And then the mission is done, usually ahead of time. And they go and tell the supervisor or leader, "Hey, ma'am, sir, I'm finished with the mission. I'm finished with that job task. You want to check?" Now, as a leader, we can go check. But 9 times out of 10, that individual has taken so many steps and procedures to ensure that when we go check, it's going to be flawless.
Yeah.
That's just second nature for a military person. It's just
Yeah.
nature. We're not going to show anybody a soup sandwich of a job or a task. We're going to show them something that's flawless. And if you do find something, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I love about that too is, and I love the sailor sharks. I love that where you gripe a little bit, which is so true. And then we transition out, and sometimes we're like, wow, that's kind of impossible. But there was never a task that was impossible. It's just we had to shift our thinking, right? To your
Mm,
point is, I don't ever remember saying that's not my job, because every job was my job,
yeah.
right? So you just had to figure it out. And I think that's so important when we go into business. So when you transitioned out being around that environment and then suddenly go into, the civilian marketplace, how was that transition for you? Was it good? Was it stellar? Was it different? Explain that a little
Yeah.
bit.
So my transition was, it was difficult. Like it was difficult more than I thought it would ever be because, as I was transitioning out, I transitioned off a recruiting command. So I was a leader in the recruiting command. I was the number one Navy recruiter for the entire nation. So in my mind, I was a prime candidate for many companies, right? And when I transitioned out and really didn't understand the whole transition for as getting your name out there, I was just like, you know what? Let me just do a resume, apply for
Mhm.
jobs. The phone is going to be ringing off the hook. And when that phone didn't ring off the hook, and even when I did get one really good interview, and I thought I nailed the interview, and saw that I didn't get that position, that's when I had to figure out that, wow, I got to understand how private sector works because I've been in the military for so many years that I do not understand how the private sector works. And that's okay. I understood that they probably didn't see my value because I didn't see my value.
Mm.
I didn't see my value because I left so many things on the table during that day long interview process. I could have shared so many other things that in my mind were collateral duties, that I thought, hey, if you're in charge of a force protection team that in charge of $2 billion worth of equipment, you don't mention that because it's a collateral duty. That's not your real job. You
Mm.
know, those are some of the things that we don't do because we're very modest as
Yeah.
veterans transitioning out, and we know that if we get the opportunity, we're going to succeed. We don't understand failure, and that's the thing I love sharing with employers is that veterans don't understand failure, and they might not ask a ton of questions, and sometimes it might be incumbent on the employer to have a training process that incorporates asking questions without any fear of reprisal or retribution, uh, but just understanding how to navigate in a whole new world outside of the military, and you're going to get a better employee that you brought on board that just happened to be this amazing veteran.
Mm.
Some of the things that I took away from my difficulty of transition and understanding the private sector, understanding employers, understanding how to put all that together, using veteran service organizations, using using the organizations within the companies that want to reach out and to understand military culture and how to conduct an interview, what questions you might not want to ask during an interview with the veteran, but just putting all that together and then just giving it to whoever wants it. So those are the type of things that I truly value because I know that it's a difficult process transitioning out. It doesn't just happen and you fall into this six figure or high figure job. It takes work. And
Yeah.
sometimes that work takes should start at that 2 year, that 18 month, that 12 month mark. But have your different folks that you reach out to all across the country that have been through it, and you'll start understanding that okay, I'm building my network. And guess what? You get to start building that network outside of the Navy.
Yeah. See, and I love that too, because you're talking about, you got to remember, you got to take graduated steps. I remember a conversation I had with an '06 who was getting ready to transition out with the expectation that, he would make, stellar high figure six income. And, he'd been serving for 25 plus years, and we sat down over coffee, and he said, no, I'll probably just, graduate right into, six figure, job. And I'm like, okay, well, let me ask you a question. I've started a couple companies, I've built some organizations, but I want to go back into the military. You think I can go back in as a captain? And he went, well, no chance. And I'm like, well, why not? Look at all my experience, right? I got plenty of experience. I've run pretty big budgets. I've done pretty, ran big teams. I mean, and he goes, well, no, you got to work your way through it. And I said, yeah, same expectation in corporate, right? I got to start at the entry level, but to expect that you're going to be starting at a senior VP level. And I love that you set that expectation, understanding that you had the expectation, but then adjusted. And I think that's so important. And that adjustment, I think probably helped you start your business, which STZY, which I want you to really share what's going on with STZY, because you guys are growing. You guys are getting like major athletes that are promoting your product. You've got a stellar product. How do veterans take this secret, this stuff that we possess, and apply that to a business? So I want you to share, number one, how you jumped into a business, because I remember originally we talked about t-shirts. You were developing these
Hmm.
t-shirts, and now you've got this whole line of sportswear, well, socks. I want to say socks, which are amazing. I'm just waiting for you to come out with the underwear, because the socks are so doggone comfortable. But talk to me about STZY and how you landed on this idea and how you're seeing its exponential growth and getting these great people a part of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So when I originally knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I'll tell you, a lot of this goes back to 2012 when I transitioned out. Uh, I was watching 60 Minutes one day, and lo and behold, I saw Dr. Mike Haney on 60 Minutes talking about entrepreneurship boot camp for veterans, and I saw that there were CEOs that were helping these veterans start businesses and help them grow their businesses. And I was like, man, how cool would it be to do that? But I didn't even know what type of business I would want. Plug that right there, and 4 years later, I'm working for the institute in Texas of all places, starting a new program. But when I started the entrepreneurial bug and was able to go to EBV at Texas A&M, I knew I wanted to do a drop shipping company, and I knew I wanted to do t-shirts because I started teaching myself how to do it through drop shipping where I wouldn't have to have any inventory. And I was like, you know what, I can grow a 100K, or plus business and make money while I'm sleeping. Yeah, I can do that. And sure enough, we were on track. I started that business in December of 2019. I had a really nice launch event for it, and I was getting ready to start scaling my ad campaigns in March. COVID hits. When
Yeah.
COVID hit, all the fulfillment centers shut down for at least 12 weeks, and there was no orders going out. And I had to shut the company down because you don't have any orders going out. And that feeling made me feel like, oh man, that's not good. I said, all right, I gotta figure out something to take on inventory. So during that time, the biggest selling item was my socks. I was doing military themed socks. I was, some socks that had different themes on them, which were really cool. And so, but folks were ordering socks like nobody business. So, okay, let me take this a little bit further. So I was able to partner with two young professionals who were in the e-commerce space, in the manufacturing space, and it just worked out together where when we had a conversation, and I said, hey, I think I want to start a sock company, but I think I want it to be an athletic sock company because the novelty piece is cool, and I think a lot of people, but I want something that's going to have a lot of staying power, and I just want
Mhm.
very basic, highly premium athletic socks. And so that's how we landed on socks. So at that point, that was that ideation. We started ordering socks from all over the country and in the world for that matter, breaking them down and figuring out what was good, what was not. And then we started working with our manufacturer, and it took us 8 months to get to market this whole process. And we were doing it
Wow.
COVID, but it took us 8 months to get because we would get a batch in, test them. That's not it. Let's go back. So that took us 8 months. But when we got the product that we said, okay, let's take this to market, we ended up launching in March of this year. And when we launched in March of this year, after 45 days, we sold out, and we knew that we were onto something. So once we reordered, because it kind of took us by surprise that we sold out, because I was thinking maybe 6 months, but it happened so quickly. But during that time, because our ad campaigns were so good, our marketing was phenomenal, we started getting NFL agents, Major League Baseball agents reaching out, MMA agents reaching out. It was just so amazing to see. And we started providing product for some of these professional athletes to test. And, by the grace of their heart, they loved what they got and started posting and said, "Hey, I love STZY socks. These socks are amazing." And for an NFL athlete, that most of them are, high millions,
Yep.
and probably get any sock that they want. For them to really say that they admire STZY socks and love the comfort, and then even had their agents that asked us to send them more, that to me was like, okay, we passed that test. And that was a big test to pass because with us, what we decided to do early on before launching was create a company that gave back. I had that with my company before where I was able to give socks to homeless veterans throughout the country. So this time I wanted to do something, and that something I wanted it to be aligned with sports, and I want to be aligned with young people.
Mm.
Growing up in Alabama, I was a three-sport guy: football, basketball, baseball. Baseball was my favorite sport. Truly wanted to go to Atlanta Braves training camp when I was 12. Unfortunately, we didn't have the resources to do it, but I mean, I had a cannon for an arm. I had a quick bat. I could steal bases like Ricky Henderson. So I thought I was, Ken Griffey Jr., the next coming. But I really wanted to go sharpen my skill set and be around professional athletes at that training camp. And I wasn't able to go. And, sometimes I was like, man, if I would have gotten something, something would have triggered. And so fast forward now with my daughter, who shows signs early on at the early age of 2 that she wanted to be a tennis player. We've been able to put her in camps, and she's been able to do camps. And this past summer, she was selected to be on the elite team as a 9-year-old, just turned 9, to play against the 14 through 18-year-olds. And her goal
Wow.
is to be number one by age 16. And right now, she's probably the top 100 9-year-olds in the world playing tennis. But I look at that and say, what was the difference, right? One, the difference was resources. And two, the difference was me as a dad saying, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
You know, keep pushing forward. That's our slogan, keep pushing forward. And just breathing that positivity energy in her every day. And so what we wanted to do with our give back was create a B Corp. So we were able to get B Corp pending in under 60 days, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
But we got B Corp pending, and our give back is to help young student athletes all across the globe that are in need, that are aspiring to better themselves through sports. And so we wanted to make sure it was a global thing, and really setting that stage for it to be a global thing early on was speaking a lot of things into existence, because right now we've sold to every continent except Antarctica. So we have a global product that's been out there. And even I've tasked my team. I said, hey, Pele is my daughter's favorite athlete. And next year, 2022, our goal is to be able to work with Pele's foundation in Brazil and have some of the players from the Brazilian soccer team come out and do a camp for some underserved young athletes. So I want my daughter to take a picture with Pele.
No,
And
that's so cool.
we're going to do it. That is our goal, to do that at some point this year, next year. So those are some of the things that I truly believe STZY is going to bring to the table, being able to help impact and change lives. So right now we've been able to change the lives of student athletes. We've been able to sponsor 2 high schools, which has been amazing. And we've even been able to sponsor a veteran serving organization that's been helping military spouses. So, as we continue to grow as a company, our giving is going to continue to grow exponentially, because I truly believe that sports really brings out so much in young people, that determination, that confidence, teamwork, some of those things that we learn each and every day when we served in the military,
Yeah,
right?
see, I love that, Anthony. I'm going to jump in here because it's
Yeah.
so important. That secret that we talk about, starting this business is, number one, you got to have the vision, right? You got to have the vision. You got to think, man, what need am I solving? And do I see that it can be fulfilled, right? And you're going to have challenges and roadblocks and things that happen. And I love that you shared that, man, you had to shut one company down, but that gave you the vision to say, well, what was working?
Hmm.
Let's focus there. I mean, I think people get confused with the whole Elon Musk story that he just woke up one day and, he was highly successful. No, I mean, if people remember how PayPal started, it was going to be the bank, right? And then they realized, well, no, that's not really our sweet spot, right? So it's a matter of, challenges force us into getting super creative. But I love how you said it's really the persistence, it's really the never giving up. It's always having that sense of touch with the community to give back. I love all of this about that. I love the cause piece, and I love that you're helping the next generation come up. And I truly want people to be able to support you and get a benefit of the socks. Like I rarely, like, I'll stand up and everybody don't freak out because I do have pants on, but I mean I'm wearing the socks, right? Because and my wife would shoot me because it's like you can't wear white socks with dark pants, but they're so comfortable. I mean, they're seriously so comfortable. I didn't get paid to say that even, so I think everybody needs to know that. But you've got a great product. So how do people find STZY? Because STZY isn't spelled like you say it, or maybe
Right.
it is. But
Yeah, no. So, no, thanks so much for that. And thanks for wearing the socks. I know they're crazy comfortable, but you will be happy to know that we're coming out with our V2 line and they're going to have colors. So your wife will be able to kind of relax a little bit. You'll be able to a little bit with your pants. But and we're going to launch a women's line. But basically, for folks that want to check out what we're doing, they can go to www.stzofficial.com and check out what we're doing. Go to our About Us page, check out about the B Corp that we have going on, and then just peruse our crew socks, our no shows, and I'm telling you, we kept it really basic, but basic has been so great for so many people and they just love it. I mean, it's just really cool seeing so many folks from all different walks and backgrounds and that are appreciating Steezy from Australia to Italy, to Florida to Washington State. It's just been amazing. So for me as an entrepreneur, and even for me as a veteran who's traveled the world, this is a dream come true, and we're
mm,
just beginning. And one of the things that you had asked from before, we're just beginning, and the next level, we're looking at some unique opportunities, growing our e-commerce business, also growing our business in retail, so we can be in retail stores all over the country and all over the world, and also being able to do custom socks for organizations and say, I love your product and I would love to create a custom sock with you guys. And then also just working with these amazing athletes from all over the world that want to work with Steezy, because those athletes were a Steezy young athlete once before.
yeah,
They may not have been in need, maybe not, but they were a young athlete aspiring to be the next Messi, aspiring to be the next Michael Jordan, aspiring to be the next Flojo. And those are the things that just really gets me up every morning knowing that I want to give my all to this company, because I truly believe that helping that next generation and helping them understand sometimes you just have to have grit in life.
yeah, yeah.
Stuff is not going to be given to you. Just have a little grit about yourself and all the time just keep pushing forward.
I love that. Keep pushing forward. It's such a great way to close this segment out. I mean, keep pushing forward. Go to STZYofficial.com. It's STZY official.com. And I'm going to encourage all our listeners, all our viewers to check it out. The socks are truly amazing. I know I can say that, and people will be like, yeah, a sock's a sock, but a sock is not a sock. So all you Costco shoppers out there that have been buying your socks from Costco, as soon as you put these socks on your feet, you'll notice a difference. Just amazing. Uh, Anthony, I want to say thank you for sharing your story, because I think it's inspirational. And I think we need to remember what we possess as veterans and how that we can make a difference in the marketplace. And for those who want to get back on mission, purpose, identity, be sure you check us out here at Operation Military Family, and we'll help you work on discovering your next mission, purpose, identity. And maybe you'll develop another product, service, something that changes the world like Anthony's doing. So, Anthony, thank you for being on the Military Wire.
Thank you, brother. Hey, you take care. Be blessed.